Hello everybody, Luke back once again, this time to take a look at the top few, in my opinion, Android podcast apps according to my needs. Now, I've been using Dogcatcher for a very long time. It's one of the first podcasting apps on Android. Came out 14, 15 years ago maybe. I don't hold me to that, but I've been using it for at least 12 years. Recently, I've noticed it became a little buggy. It doesn't seem like they've updated the user interface and some other features on it I didn't really care for. So I decided to look around. I asked some people for opinions and I got a few. And I decided to stick to this list as the top podcasting apps that are free. There are some that are paid for a few bucks. You can get them. Honestly, I think that there's really no reason to get a paid version right now because the free ones seem to do everything I want and more. Unless you're looking for some content that may be locked behind a paywall, they're like exclusives to that app. But no podcast I wanted fell into that category. First though, before I break down the ones that made my list and a few that didn't make my list and I explain why, if you're new here, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. Hopefully we can help you learn something new. All right, so quick note, I am looking at this on my actual computer. I'm using an app called BlueStacks on my Windows computer to play Android apps on my computer for the ability to easily show them, record them, and do voiceover. So you can see me using a mouse. The mouse in this case works just like your finger would. You see I scrolled up and it's refreshing the podcast now. And I canceled the refresh on that. But keep that in mind, this will work on Android phones and tablets, Samsung, Pixel, LG, Motorola, etc. All right, Google Podcasts is my first pick here. I really love it. Huge store here. Very easy to find different things. I love the ability that you can sign in using your Google email. So if you have an account there with Gmail or YouTube, you can use that to sign in here. And when you jump from device to device, all your podcasts are all the same moved across, which is pretty cool. And now, if I had more podcasts up here, as threw a few random ones in, you can scroll this list at the top left to right. But it also shows you here in order of release all the podcasts that recently come out. So I can see, okay, an hour ago there was a Marketplace Minute update. But let's say I want to listen to the Solid Verbal College Football podcast. I can click on that and I can see in order of release all of theirs. I can click on this to play. I can add it to a playlist if I want to create my own little playlist podcast. I can download it for offline listening if I'm getting on a plane or somewhere where internet will be weak. It's pretty nice. Now, if I click on this, it does offer some cool features. Number one is the ability to speed up or slow down the playback, which I really like. I usually listen to most podcasts at 1.2, 1.1, depending on the speed of the host, a little faster or a little slower, depending on how they talk. Also, it has a feature called Trim Silence. This seems to work pretty well, where it goes into the podcast and tries to cut out dead air within the podcast. And overall, I would say it does a good job at it. One thing I really like here is I started this podcast here on my computer. If I would jump to my phone, if I jump to my Android Auto, my Google speaker, it will pick up from that spot. So it's syncing the playthrough across all my different devices out there, which I really like. It also syncs all my podcasts, keep them all the same. The downside here is when it comes to casting, it does support casting. It only sees Google devices, so like my Wi-Fi, Google Nest speakers, it will pick that up, but my Echo speakers don't show up in there. It does have a sleep timer also in some other basic features of the playback and more. There is support for Android Auto and Android Wear, which I absolutely love. So if you're a huge Android Auto fan, I like this too. It's pretty nice. So 2 thumbs up on this. Great ability to easily find podcasts. I didn't find any I couldn't locate, which wasn't always the case. Some podcasting apps didn't have all the apps out there, or the podcasts I was looking for. So keep that in mind. Next up is Dogcatcher. Now this is one of the originals, and it kind of looks like it. Not exactly the most beautiful, but it's a very simple, easy to use app. And you can see I just threw some podcasts in here. Quick refresh. See, I want to look at This Week in Tech. I can go in here and I can click to download it, click to play. Pretty nice. Now, if I want to stream, I actually have to click on this little menu and then select Stream, which is a little not fun because then I have to do a lot more digging to stream, because nowadays I typically stream. Back when this app first came out, internet in your car and more wasn't always very reliable. So back in the late 2000s, most people still downloaded their podcasts at home on Wi-Fi and then streamed it on the go, because you also wanted to not hit your data limit cap on that, which you could pretty easily back then. So that's pretty nice little feature there, but it does lack some features. So let's go into the player. The ability to speed up, slow down, have a autoplay on and off. You can also set a sleep timer on this, is pretty nice. Now, it does not include the ability to cast, though it does include support for Android Wear and Android Auto to easily play your podcast in the car. I will say, though, their podcast store isn't always the most up-to-date. While 99% of the major podcasts out there are included, some of the lesser-known ones I often find aren't available through the subscribe store look-through. And you can add it going into the RSS feed and add that manually, but some people may not want to do that. It's also, I don't think, being updated like it should. I've noticed it become a little buggy, and that's the reason I was looking around. But I will say it's a very solid app. It works really well overall for the last 10 years for me. And it just it's one of those apps that's so simple. It does one thing and does it really well, and it plays audio, podcasts, and video. The one cool thing here, even though I think video podcasts isn't quite as popular as it used to be, as most people now watch them on YouTube, it does have the ability, if I downloaded some, to look at my audio downloads and my video downloads so I can easily sort them depending on what I want. So keep that in mind. Overall, though, it's good. It's easy to use. It's very simple, but it kind of looks dated and it feels dated a little bit. All right. Amazon has got into podcasts. Now they have podcasting through Amazon Music and Audible. I picked the Audible for one cool feature I'll talk about in a minute, but I think they both could use a little bit more polish. They're probably the newest podcasting apps out there of any I'm going to talk about or show right now. Now this one, if you use Audible, this is what I'm showing you here. Of course, you got your books, but you also now have podcasts included. I threw a few shows in here real quick. Let's go back into Marketplace, the public radio one here. And I can play different episodes here and more. Though when I go into specific episodes, I do notice it tries to download. I just want to say, hey, I just wanted that one. Nope, instead of just streaming it, it downloaded it and it's now here. Now it does offer a few features. Again, the speed time to adjust it from 3.5 down to half speed. Yeah, usually hit right about there. Sleep timer, but it also has this cool bookmarking feature where when I listen to a podcast, I can't tell how many times I've been in the car and said, hey, that's a cool thing they're talking about. I want to go look up that website. I want to look up that product, or I want to show this to or play this for my wife, I should say, when I get home. Here I can actually hit this bookmark and it saves a mark on the book to say, hey, you're right there. You can go back and listen to that section of that podcast again really quick and easily. I wish more podcasting apps did that. That's a really cool feature. They also have this driver mode. So even if you're not using Android Auto or another one, you can just quickly pull this up on your phone, and it just has the ability to jump back 30 seconds, play, pause, and bookmark. Just 3 controls on your screen. Really easy, so you're not having to stare at your phone when you're driving, which is pretty cool. Again, the podcasting library is good, but not great. I wish it was easier to just play an episode without having to download it, and more with this. But overall, it's a good app, and I think Amazon will continue to develop this. And if you're like me and you listen to a lot of audiobooks, it's kind of nice to have it all in one spot. Of course, Android Auto support is included. And lastly, my recommended podcast is TuneIn. Now, TuneIn is a great radio app. iHeart and TuneIn are going head-to-head, fighting over who has the best radio app out there. Both now have podcasting. I picked TuneIn because I use this more for sports when I'm... Oh, okay. There we go. I don't know why I was scrolling. I use this a lot more for listening to sporting content. TuneIn is very good about college sports broadcasts when I'm in the car, want to hear a game from around the country. Does it really nice, and it also has podcasts here. It also allows you the ability to go and listen to it on an Echo device. There is support built in for Echo, which is really nice. And of course, Android Auto is included. I did find, though, again, probably not the best catalog. Surprisingly, Google probably did the best in having all the podcasts out there that I wanted to listen to. without having to say, hey, I need to look it up and add it. So overall, though, I will say the interface isn't quite as good as I want. This is probably the one I would rank least of the ones I've shown you. But if you're using it a lot for sporting and local radio and more, then I would say, hey, yeah, this is a pretty good one. Now, if you had to tell me to pick one, I would probably go with Google Podcasts. Even though Google has a reputation for killing beta products, this seems like a very good app. It works really well. It's very basic, which I kind of like. It looks nice. The ability to scroll left and right through my podcasts and look at a total feed of all the different most recent podcasts, or click on Marketplace and just see all the most recent episodes, download it, stream it, add it to a playlist, find new podcasts real quick, and more, which is so simple, I have to give it 2 thumbs up. Also, great integration with my Android Auto, Android Wear, and more. There's a few that didn't quite make this list, which include Spotify. Now, I like Spotify's podcasting app. My complaint was I don't use Spotify for music. I use Amazon Music. And I'll have to say, if you don't use Spotify for music, it kept trying to shove me into music. It's like, are you sure you don't want to listen to music? Are you sure you don't want to listen to music? It's like, no, I came here for a podcast. And that's what I thought many of these different apps that do multiple things struggled with, is when I just wanted to get a podcast, sometimes I found myself fighting through, in case of TuneIn and iHeart, a bunch of radio stations that they wanted me to listen to when I just wanted to find my podcast. And I think Google Podcasts does a really good job of just giving you this screen. Hey, at the top, here's your podcast. Here's the most recent. I want Marketplace Morning Report. Scroll through here, and there I go. Very easy to use. I do like the fact that I log in across all my devices and I pick up right where I left off. So if I'm listening on my phone in the car, on home on my tablet, or my smart speaker with my Google Nest smart speaker, it works great. So overall, that's the reason I picked apps, and that's the reason I left out some like Spotify. Do you agree or disagree with this list? I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I'll put a link to these down below in the show notes. I appreciate your support. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we helped you learn something new. Maybe pick the podcasting app that's right for you. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate it.